It is 10 minutes after 10, and we have 5 members present, 6 members present. We need 4 for a quorum. Sergeant, would you remind them that Ms. Goldberg, Mr. Savornich, and Mrs. Walters, please come to the council chamber. Call the roll.
Burnson, Schick, Fuhr, Galanter, Goldberg, Hernandez, Holton, Miskowski, Pacheco, Padilla, Ridley Thomas, Savornich, Wax, Walters, Ferraro, 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
If the council will please come to order. This is a meeting of the City Council for the City of Los Angeles on the 20th day of July 1990. There are 15 council districts in the city. The regular meeting days are Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We are currently being viewed by cable subscribers throughout the Los Angeles area on the Channel 35, and we're also being monitored by council phone. First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
All right, Mr. Mistakowski moves, Mr. Padilla seconds. If there's no objections, unanimous vote. The next item.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
If there's no objections, unanimous vote. The next item.
Item number 2 on the regular agenda is appointment of commissioner.
Yes. What commissioner is it?
Mr. Robert Nizich to the Cultural Heritage Commission.
Sit right there, Mr. Nizit. This is a reappointment to the Cultural Heritage Commission. Mr. Savornich, you want to say something? You want to move approval?
Yes, Mr. President, I'd like to compliment the mayor on this very fine appointment. Mr. Nizich is very well known in the harbor area and throughout the city for his dedication, and I would like to move approval.
Okay, if there are no objections, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Mr. Nizich, we appreciate your serving the city, and we send this forthwith.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item.
Item number 3 on the regular agenda is a reappointment of commissioner.
Josephine Ramirez. Is she here? This is a reappointment to the El Pueblo Historical Monument. Is there any objections to approving this without?
So moved. I'll move it.
Okay. Prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
That is approved. She is approved, and we'll send that forthwith. Next item,
Item number 4 on the agenda is a reappointment of Commissioner.
Mr. James Silicott. Reappointment. Mr. Silicott, is he here? Mrs. Bukowski?
I understand that Mr. Hernandez has asked, could we continue this until Friday? And since Mr. Silcott is not here, I think we can let him know that will come up on Friday if there's no objection.
All right, is there any objection to continue until Friday? Seeing none, that will be the order. Next item,
Item number 16 on the regular agenda is appointment of Commissioner.
which commissioner?
The appointment of Ms. Raquel De La Rocha to the Police Commission.
Okay, Mrs. Chick?
Yes, I'm going to take great pleasure in having this be my last action, I think, as outgoing chair of the Public Safety Committee. Colleagues, to highly
We
recommend...
got item 15, you know. That's okay. Nothing to do with an appointment, though.
Oh, okay. Well, I said as one of my last acts.
Good recovery.
Thank you. That we unanimously approve the appointment of Raquel De La Rocha. Colleagues, I think you're aware that this is someone who's had extensive experience serving as a commissioner for the city on the Ethics Commission. She has, during that tenure, proven herself to be a very thoughtful and independent commissioner. And as you know, the Police Commission is one that's very important to the well-being of the city. And I've met with Ms. De La Rocha and know that she is very energized and eager to begin her work there, albeit that she knows it's an enormous amount of work. And I want to thank her in advance for taking on this very heavy responsibility. And although I will no longer be serving as Chair of Public Safety, very much look forward to working with her. I look for your unanimous vote, colleagues.
16. Okay. Okay, we have somebody that wants to be heard. The bald-headed man, would you please step forward?
Mr. President and members of the council, I didn't get that introduction, but it had to be funny, I guess. I rise to speak against the nomination of Ms. Raquel De La Rocha for many reasons, Ms. Chick. I attended many meetings of the Ethics Commission, and I attended the meeting where she became president, and she did a hatchet job on a man by the name of Ben Bicel, who was the first director of the Ethics Commission, and as far as I was concerned, one of the better people that the Ethics Commission ever had, and better people that the city of LA ever had. And when I spoke in protest to Ms. Raquel De La Rocha's action, I was cut down sharply. I was not listened to attentively. I was not listened to constructively, and neither were anybody else who protested at handling about Mr. Bicel's firing. Mr. Bicel did a good, constructive job, and in doing this, he stepped on the wrong side of the Fair Political Practices Commission in Sacramento. Mr. De La Rocha served on that Fair Political Practices Committee, and there was an intense animosity was drilled up there. I would say she has a right to like or dislike anybody, but when he gets called up for a hearing, it should be impartial. It should be just one public official taking care of another official who's not doing a proper job and handling it properly. I say this job of firing Bicel was handled improperly, brought a lot of disgrace upon the city of LA, and still is there. And as far as I'm concerned, Ms. La Rocha did not show the capability to be a member of the most important commission that the city has,
Thank you,
the Police Commission.
Thank you, Mr. Shapiro. Okay, prepare the roll on the appointment of Ms. De La Rocha. Tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
See, he made quite an impression. That is approved, and we'll send that forthwith. And we thank you for serving. It's a tough commission, but Maybe someday you'll be a council member, who knows?
Thank you, Mr.
Next.
President.
Next item.
Item number 1 on the regular agenda is a public hearing item.
Okay, we have a John D. that wants to be heard. John D., did you want to be heard on item number 1? Yes, here you are.
Morning, Mr. President and members of the committee. I'm an attorney of Sullivan, Workman, and Dees, our law firm, and we represent the property owner at 417 Westmont Drive, which is the property that's really involved in a portion of this proceeding this morning. And just for the record, we do not oppose the items of the agenda with regard to the annexation, the general plan amendment, and the portions which are the next step in this proceeding, which is the vacation of the street. We are only referencing our position today to the subsection 4A, which is an appeal from the Planning Commission recommendation with regard to the zoning. Just a point of reference, the background, this is the end of a 16-year struggle by my clients who own certain property on Westmont Drive. In 1984, the City of Los Angeles and West Hollywood closed the street at the border between the City of West Hollywood and, at that time, the county, and the City of Los Angeles. In 1988, there was a permanent cul-de-sac enforced and built on the end of that street, and at that time separated my client's property from the rest of the City of West Hollywood and placed it all in the City of Los Angeles. This created a cul-de-sac. At that time, subsequent to that, we filed in 1988 an inverse condemnation action for impairment of access. This was then settled in 1996. The City Council approved the settlement along with the County of Los Angeles and the City of West Hollywood in lieu of paying in excess of $400,000 in damages. And at that time, it was a unanimous approval of the settlement. The settlement provided among the obligations of the City of Los Angeles was to accept parcel number 39, which is 417 Westmont Drive, into the City of Los Angeles from the City of West Hollywood because the barricade separated it from the City of West Hollywood, and it was one lot now that was no longer appended to the City of West Hollywood. As part of that, it was necessary also then to put a zoning on this parcel. The settlement agreement, which was filed with the court proceeding in 1996 and was approved by order of court and by this council, provided that the City of Los Angeles would initiate the zone change application, the general plan amendment, and would annex this lot into the City of Los Angeles, and then as part of the proceeding and settlement would vacate that Westmont Drive, which only extended a couple of hundred feet now to the dead end. We get to this point today because at the Planning Commission hearing, there was a protest by the homeowners in West Hollywood to this zone application initiated by the City of Los Angeles to zone this property as commercial, C21BL. They wanted it limited only to parking, this one lot. The subject properties had always been used for in excess of 20 to 25 years as commercial properties in the past and developed to commercial uses. These are the same people who initiated the blockage of the street in 1984 by petition to the then County of Los Angeles and then to the City of West Hollywood asking that the street be closed. And they are the ones for whom the benefit of the settlement agreement in 1996 was reached through the Superior Court, and which was ultimately reduced to an order of the Superior Court. Our statement today,
Go ahead, are you going to,
I'm about ready to wind
Okay,
down,
good.
with your permission, Mr. Ferraro. What we are asking for today is that the city's initiated zone change, which is really not a zone change because this parcel doesn't have any zoning in the City of Los Angeles. Once it's annexed, it doesn't have any zoning at all. It was just to place a zoning on it. The settlement agreement provided that the zoning to be placed on this property and for which the city would initiate the zoning application hearing and the general plan amendment would be to the same identical zoning as the adjoining two lots owned by our client, which was C21VL. We are asking that that agreement be honored. In lieu of, as a compromise, what we would agree to do is that in the meantime, while the property still has its current development, because it's actually used as parking serving the other 3 parcels, is that the parcel be zoned as initiated by the city and not as being changed by the Planning Commission recommendation to C21BL with a temporary queue condition that it be used for parking until such time as a new development proposal is approved by the City Council. In that way, everybody's concerns are met with regard to any fear that there might be development on the property at the present time. My clients have no present rights for development, nor do they have any plans submitted, but they would lose the density which was bargained for if this parcel is zoned parking. And it would be an island, it would be spot zoning. In that sense, I think it would be illegal. It would be contrary to the agreement that was approved by this City Council, and therefore we ask that the application as initiated by the City Council, in this case in 1996, be honored and that it be Zone C21BL.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's the only card we have, so the public hearing is closed.
Mr. President, we did submit a letter from the client that has a little bit of this, and we would like that to be part of the record as well.
It will be. Thank you. Mr. Fuhr?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to move the Planning and Land Use Management Committee's report, which I think handles this situation properly. I want to just make a brief reference to the attorney's statement regarding the settlement agreement that's part of this record here, where he was stating that he thought that the settlement agreement guaranteed an outcome, and in fact, quite to the contrary, the agreement states that there can be no guarantee regarding the ultimate outcome of the public hearings before the City Council. And indeed, the City Council hearings on this matter, I think, have resulted in a proper result. So I move the Planning Committee report.
I believe we have no other speakers. We have a motion, Mr. Clerk.
Item number 1, Planning and Land Use Management Committee report is before you.
Okay. Being no other speakers, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
That item is approved. Forthwith? Forthwith. The Chair would like to recognize Council President Ferraro.
Mr. President, members of the council, we have some very distinguished visitors from Shara, which is one of the United Emirates Republics. They're visiting here, and we have the distinct honor of having the Director General of the Commerce and Tourism Development Authority, Mr. Al Fassara, and I'd like to present a certificate of welcome and friendship to Mr. Al Fassara. And we also have Mr. Al Qasama, who is the head of Health Department for Shara, United Immigrants. United Arab Immigrants. We're again welcome you to Los Angeles. Glad you're here and your visit. We look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you.
Good morning, President John Ferraro, Council Member Sheikh Mohammed Al-Qasimi, and I. Very honored and happy to be visiting Council Chamber today. We have a great greeting from our government, United Arab Emirates, and the people. We are visiting Los Angeles City to promote relationship between the two countries in the area of trade, education, and cultures and technology. UAE is one of the oil exporting countries in the Gulf and also at the trade center for whole the Middle East. And has a tremendous opportunity for U.S. company and the public. Again, it is a great pleasure to be here, and thank you for welcoming us to your beautiful city. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you. Have a very pleasant stay in Los Angeles. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Ferraro. We again would like to offer our welcome to the guests. We'd like to make a comment that on item number 1, that was a first reading ordinance, and since there were not 12 members present, that will go over 1 week until next Tuesday for the second reading ordinance. Mr. Clerk, next items.
Items number 5 through 15 on the regular agenda are items for which public hearings have been held.
Okay. Do we have any specials? We have item 8 called special, item 10 special, 15 special. Any other items, colleagues? Okay. We do have items number
5, 6, 7, 9, 11, 12, 13, and 14 before you.
Okay. Open the roll on those items. Tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
That will be the order. Next items.
Items number 17 through 44.
Items 17 through 44, are there any specials, colleagues? Item number 40, special.
Item 31 continued for 3 weeks.
Without objection, that will be the order. We have item 40 called special. Any other items special? 27, 28, and 29 are called special. Any other items? Okay. Mr. Clerk, would you please open the roll on the items not called special? Tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
Those items are approved. Next items. Without objection, forthwith on 42. Next items.
Item number 8 called special by Councilmember Burnson.
On 41.
Forthwith on 41. We now have item number 8 before us. Mr. Burnson.
Members of the council, I simply called it special because there are a few people that wish to be heard, who I believe have filled out cards, and I would move a 10-minute public hearing.
Without objection, we will have a 10-minute public hearing on item number 8. Without objection, forthwith on item number 40. Okay, we now have item number 8 before us. We do have some speakers that wish to be heard. Candido Merez.
President, council members, normally I'm here as an observer, but today I'm proud to represent the 12th District on the Citizens Unit for Participation, and I would like to thank Mr. Burnson for asking for 10 minutes for public speaking. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Hubert.
Bill Huber, Council District 3, representing Councilmember Laura Chick. The CUP is, I'm sure you people all know, is a organization which recommends the City Council actions on the consolidated plan on and substantial amendments. We've done a great deal of study in order to be able to work with this group. We've studied the HUD regulations, the city documents regarding the CUP, the workings of CDD and CRA, etc. We've attended seminars and training sessions. We study our council districts. We go out and look at sites for nonprofits. We're all volunteers. We're all working hard, and we have a great deal of expertise. We're very much like a neighborhood council, but we work for the entire city. We feel that you have a staggering job ahead of you in dealing with these neighborhood councils, and we feel we can be a great deal of help to you. I'd like now to pass this on to Virginia Huber.
Virginia Huber, also CD3. Laura Chick is my council member. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we have accomplished in the Valley and are working on right now. We have gone and talked to the members of the various organizations which are active in the West Valley, including all the chambers of commerce. We have personally driven up and down Sherman Way and looked at all of the projects that are going on there. In addition, we are now passing out the questionnaires to organizations in the West Valley, trying to get input from the general citizens on what they would like the money to be spent. And as part of this, we are holding a picnic this coming Saturday at Woodley Park from 11 to 3. We hope that some of you will either be able to attend or will send representatives. What we are trying to do is to increase the number of people who provide recommendations to the council. So any help you could give us in those council members who have not yet appointed CUP members, if you would consider it, it would be, I think, of a value to you.
Thank you.
My name is Jessie Samuel, and I'm from the 8th District. Councilman Mark Wrigley Thomas is my councilperson. And I'm here this morning to ask you to please support the CUP committee, because we have been working for many, many years. I've been here since the 70s. And we are the liaison between our councilmatic district and the citizens. We go out, we check the sites, we see if they're doing what you have put the money there for them to do. If they don't do it, then we come back and report it. We've even found some sites say they're doing one thing and not doing anything at all, where that would be a waste of money. And we're the liaison to let you know and let them know what you're doing and let you know what they're doing. Thank you.
Mr. President, I would also like to ask Mr. Raul Gonzalez from CDD to come up and just give a few words.
Thank you. I just want to say that the CUP...
Give us your name, please.
Raul Gonzalez, Community Development Department, and I'm here at the invitation of the CUP, and basically to indicate that the CUP can serve as a lightning rod, as a catalyst for the communication of critical information about the projects that are funded throughout the city of Los Angeles, but specifically in those neighborhood councils. These individuals actually go out and look at these programs. They come back to meetings and they say, look, good things are happening at this particular location and other things need to be improved over here. We attempt to communicate that information upwards so that changes do occur. And I'd just like to say that the CUP can continue that effort. They have submitted a recommendation for the use of block grant funds to augment the new department's capabilities. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Mr. President, thank you. Just one last thing.
You're going to talk again?
No, so just quickly, I would just like to say that along with Ms. Samuels, you have Phil Majorca and Ms. Alma Woods. If you combine their total years that they've served with CUP, it's almost 90 years. And the reason why they do that is because they serve their communities. And not only do they serve their communities, they serve this city. And that's the one goal that we have on CUP, is coming together to see what we can do for the city of Los Angeles. Thank you.
Did Terry Cooper speak? Terry Cooper?
Mr. President and members of the council, I am Professor Terry Cooper from the USC School of Policy, Planning, and Development, and along with my colleague Juliet Musso, one of the co-principal investigators on the Neighborhood Participation Research Project. We're about 2 years into a project which involves building a database on neighborhood organizations within the city of Los Angeles, and at this point have over 2,000 organizations in our database and still counting. Have a survey questionnaire out to those organizations to learn more about them, and we'll be doing some interviews with a subset of that group. So we're here to express our support for this new Department of Neighborhood Empowerment and to express our hope that we will be able to be useful and helpful both to the department and to the people of Los Angeles. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's all the cards we have. So the public, anybody else want to be heard? If not, the public hearing is closed. Mrs. Chick?
Yes, Mr. President, I rise in particular to express positive reaction to the testimony we heard this morning, and I think this was a very good and wise vehicle for the members of our citywide CUP to come and speak to us. This has been a group that has always been intended to do very good work, and particularly the two members from my district who have been hard at work have worked with city staff to even raise the level of the participation and its effectiveness. And listening to them this morning, it dawned on me that now through the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment and through the formation of neighborhood councils, that the CUP working to have representatives on neighborhood councils will definitely, I think, be a way to enhance the sharing of information going in both directions, and will be a very good vehicle to have the CUP members obtain feedback from a broader range of the public, something that I hadn't actually thought about in my ongoing support of neighborhood councils and the department. So I simply look forward, colleagues, to our moving forward on this and to the new ad hoc committee contemplating the amendments that still have not been finally considered. Thank you.
Mr. Fuhrer.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to speak very briefly to urge a unanimous vote in favor of this ordinance today. I know that clearly the votes are here to pass it, but I think that if we can speak unanimously on this first issue related to charter reform, particularly the important issue of the reconnection of our neighborhoods to government, it'll make a very strong positive statement about this council's willingness to effectuate the key goals of charter reform.
Okay, we have item number 8 before us. Prepare the roll. Item number 8, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
That is approved. We'll send that forthwith. Next item.
Point of clarification, on the ordinances that have been adopted, 5 through 7 and 17 through 20, those ordinances will be held over 1 week until 7/23.
Yes, for those in the audience, on ordinances, first reading, there must be at least 12 members present and a unanimous vote. If not, it goes over 1 week, and so next week they will be back a week from today. Next item.
Item number 10, called special by Councilmember Burnson.
Mr. Burnson, you called 10 special?
Yes, members of the council, I don't have any problem with waiving the fee for, this calls for strictly immigrants who wish to make police reports. Why are we just making it for immigrants? Why would it not be for any victim of domestic violence? And I would move that we extend this to all members of, all victims of domestic violence.
Would you want to respond to that?
Yes, Mr. President. Joe Gunn, Executive Director of the Police Commission. The reason this is limited to immigrant women is because the Legal Aid Society came to us with this particular problem. There is an Assembly Bill number 403 that is moving through the legislature that will mandate that the police department give reports to all victims of battered women free, and it is a state-mandated program for
Why do we have to
reimbursement.
wait for the state to do this? Why shouldn't we do it? I mean, I have no problem with doing it for the immigrants, but why are we singling out one group of people? I mean, victims of domestic violence are always virtually in the same type of position, economically dependent in other ways, and I think that we should extend this. We shouldn't wait. I think the city ought to be taking the step rather than waiting for the state to tell us what to do on it. So I would move that we make this available to all victims of domestic violence.
Mrs. Walders?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have the same questions that Mr. Burnson had. In Budget and Finance, the Police Department came forward with new fees, charging fees for various reports, and certainly this kind of report is one that I would object strongly to charging anyone for, and there should be no charge to anyone. I certainly support the item number 10, which would remove the fee to immigrant women, but I would remove the fee to all people who are victims of crimes and need to get a crime report. It just doesn't make sense to try to, for the department to try to make revenue off something that sensitive. And so I would move that we enact number 10, but extend it to all people seeking crime reports, that there be no charges for crime reports to individuals.
Could you tell us what we're talking about with Mrs. Walters' motion?
My name is Laura Johnson. I'm with LAPD Records and Identification. We don't disagree with the philosophy of trying to render these reports to people. However, it is a labor problem in terms of the personnel to be able to do that. That has to be reviewed, and we have a shortage of personnel. But in addition to that, the domestic violence it's a burgeoning field, and there are
Well,
literally...
It's not a burgeoning field. Women have been getting beaten up for centuries. So, you know, it's not a burgeoning field. The field is just now taking notice that women have a right not to be beaten. That's what's happening.
I agree with you.
But the police department came forward as a revenue enhancer with charges for various things in the department. And to say that something is involved, that labor is involved and all of that sort of thing, I don't think needs to be taken into consideration. It should be a service that the city provides, just like we provide services. If your house is on fire, the fire department doesn't charge you for coming out to put out the fire. This is something that people need, a crime report, and I don't think we ought to charge anybody for it.
And again, we don't have right now the personnel to do that, and it needs to be reviewed of how much we would have to hire people if everyone came to the street.
Don't have to hire anybody. The report itself says that they issue about 20 of these reports a year.
No, that's just for immigrant.
20 such, or a month. 20
That's just
such
for-
reports are requested a month.
Mrs. Walters, that's just for the immigrants.
Immigrant women.
Right, that's just.
How many reports would there be if you followed Mrs. Walters'
There would be-
suggestion?
There would be hundreds, and if it was for everyone, it would be for thousands. So,
Well, why don't we, Mrs. Walters, why don't we approve what Mr. Bernson is suggesting on domestic violence and ask for a report back on the other? Is that okay with you? Okay. Mr. Pacheco?
I was simply going to join in and second what I believe Mr. Bernson's motion was, to strike the word immigrant from the item, and that would take care of our concerns, because I agree that when you're dealing with domestic violence, as a former prosecutor of domestic violence cases, I think any place where we can assist victims in going through the process is the best way to pursue this matter. So I would agree and second striking the word immigrant from the motion as it stands. So if I can be on record, second.
Mr. Padilla?
Thank you, Mr. President. I also want to rise in complete support of Councilmember Bernson's proposal, and just add from my colleague's thought, right now, you can have hundreds and thousands of victims of domestic violence coming in with a $13 check and obtain the copy of the report. So in terms of the concern about whether or not there's personnel to handle the requests or personnel to handle the inquiries, I don't think that's a valid concern in my opinion. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Goldberg?
What typically does a person need a crime report for?
I can only speak to this issue that I'm here on.
I'm talking about domestic violence.
The Immigration and Naturalization Service gives an immigrant woman who is trying to go through the process independently from her abusive spouse 120 days to complete the process. And they will accept as best evidence the crime report of a spousal abuse that the woman is indeed a victim of spousal abuse.
Okay, and what does someone else who is a victim of spousal abuse use a crime report for, if not for INS purposes?
I suppose they could use it for a divorce hearing, they could use it for
Okay.
employment, but it wouldn't, I don't think it'd be the same frequency as this.
Okay, but people might use them for other, as evidence in other situations where they might be trying to get relief.
They could be.
Okay. So that takes care of that issue. I certainly support Mr. Bernson's motion. Now, as to Mrs. Walters' motion for all crime reports, what do people typically need other types of crime reports for?
other crime reports would be any kind of litigation, lawsuit, tenant disputes, all kinds of matters.
Okay. And do we expect that there are some people who do not apply or come to get a crime report because they can't afford the $13 fee?
We believe that...
Say a landlord-tenant situation. We have a very low-income tenant who's not an immigrant, but just a low-income tenant, or is an immigrant, doesn't matter. Is it possible that something that they might need might not come back? They might not come and get that report that they need in some case because they don't have the $13?
It's not so much a matter of a report that they might need. If it is perfectly gratis, if it's a free service that in fact we're providing, we believe that there would be a very high incidence of people coming to get a free report that's just available in the police department that you just walk in and get.
And what's it take to get the police report? To get the crime report? We already make up the crime report, so it's a matter of someone finding it and Xeroxing it?
It's on digital imaging. They have to come in from the area that it was done to Parker Center, so there's a time lag. It is digitalized, so we have to print it out. Sometimes we have to find it. And if it involves other people, Discovery has to redact it so that they can only get that portion of the crime report that pertains to them.
Okay. I think that I support the direction that Mrs. Walters is going, but I think we need more information, and I wonder if we could refer her motion to public safety, because I suspect that there are areas like domestic violence where people are not getting crime reports that they need because they don't have $13. I agree with you entirely. It may not be every area, so maybe we can ask public safety to look with the department at those areas where you're likely to have a preponderance of lower income folks who may not come and get it, and maybe we can expand beyond domestic violence to areas where income is certainly putting one side at a disadvantage because they don't have the $13 to get the crime report. So my recommendation is to ask for the Public Safety Committee to look at this area with the department and make any further recommendations, because I suspect that Mrs. Walters is right on the money.
That's what we suggested, and Mr. Bernson's amendment was seconded by Mr. Pacheco. So we have 10 as amended. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That is approved. Forthwith on that. Maybe we can get those $13 from the fire department for some of these.
Item number 15, called special by Councilmember Chick.
Mrs. Chick, we do have some people that want to be heard.
Oh, you want to do that?
You want to make a...
Well, I was going to recommend that we hear from Mr. Knapp, the General Manager of Animal Services Department, before I speak, and reminding my colleagues, I believe it was Mr. Zavornich who requested during our budget considerations and it raised a very important question about how the vouchers for subsidized sterilization of cats and dogs are being distributed, and raised a very pertinent question about are we taking a look at low-income neighborhoods and pet owners as being the first in line to need such assistance?
Let him speak.
Okay, so we asked Mr. Knapp to come back with a policy, and that's what's before us.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council, Councilmember Chick. A little overview of the proposal that's before you. Spay-neuter coupons began to be distributed in the city in 1992. They were distributed for two reasons, certainly to reduce pet overpopulation and also to help those who have a need to subsidize their cost for spay-neuter. Those coupons still are worth $20 for cats and $30 for dogs. At that time, qualified organizations who were qualified by the department, such as rescue groups, also council offices and volunteers of the department, began to distribute those coupons. The department felt that that was important and that these particular groups do have access to the individuals who need the coupons and are the experts. Also, it was efficient in facilitating those distribution. It's been very successful. 66% of the coupons have been used for cats. Since 1992, we've had a 50% decrease in our shelters of cats. This year, the council authorized an expenditure of $600,000 for coupons. Currently, in the commission's guidelines and policy, there is no income qualifiers. The commission is recommending to council some changes in the policy. The first is that we distribute two types of coupons this year. The first coupon will continue to be what we're calling the subsidy coupon, $20 for cats, $30 for dogs. This will have an income qualifier of the HUD limit of $51,000 and below. Those coupons we're still suggesting should be distributed by the humane organizations who are qualified, council offices and volunteers of the department for the same reasons I just shared. It's been effective and efficient for them to do so. Secondly, the Commission is suggesting that we reserve some of those coupons for free sterilizations, and that those coupons be distributed by our officers. Our officers go into each one of the council districts, and they're the ones that come face to face with the individuals who really need the free services. It'll take just a few moments for them to help them fill out those coupons, and they'll be very effective. We're suggesting that the financial income qualifier for that be the HUD-approved level for low income of $31,000 and below. The Commission wanted to keep the income qualifier levels fairly broad simply because we are in cat season right now. We're having one of the most dramatic cat breeding seasons that we will see due to our dry winter, and we're projecting that that will go into December. Consequently, they desired to keep the qualifier fairly broad so that we can continue distribution during this critical time, also recognizing that the Commission would like to come back to you after your consideration of the spay-neuter ordinance and dramatically alter these policies. I had planned to review that later this year. Should the Council favorably look upon a spay-neuter ordinance, what we may suggest is that since the veterinary community we're working with right now is looking at reducing their price to an affordable level, this will provide access to a wide range of community members, and that we offer those coupons after the spay-neuter ordinance for free, but that's for further consideration by the Council. So this is the proposal and recommendation from our Commission before you.
Okay, we have people that are apparently opposed to this, and I don't know if they know what they mean by that, and we have general comments. So I'm going to start with Michael Turner. If there's no objection, we'll give a 10-minute public hearing. Michael Turner.
Hi, my name is Michael Turner, and I would like to appeal to the City Council to leave the current voucher program unchanged in regards to distribution of the vouchers, and instead work together and focus on mandatory spaying and neutering of all pets, licensing breeders, and programs that eliminate the creation of unwanted pets in the city. I myself live in the northern part of South Central. I assist people in my area with the spay and neuter of their pets and strays. In the 6 years or so that I have been volunteering, I have had only one low-income person actually go to a city shelter for a discount coupon. In all other instances, and there are numerous, I get the vouchers issued in their names, I assist the owners with rounding up the kittens and or trapping the strays, I take them to the vet, and then we put any unwanted animals in our adoption program. There are many other people here, many other people who are unable to be here today that have similar situations. If the current voucher distribution is changed, I don't know how we'll be able to continue to provide the assistance to the South Central area. So please do not change the voucher distribution system. Thank you.
Bobby Heller, and then Michael Bell.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the Council, thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of those who cannot. My name is Bobby Heller, and I'm Vice President of Felines and Friends. Recently, our group was recognized by City Council for our efforts in the rescue of abandoned cats and dogs, as well as community outreach and education. These programs include facilitating the spay and neuter of hundreds of animals who live all over Los Angeles, including minority and low-income areas. These animals in these areas are often not officially owned by any particular person and are just part of the landscape until they start multiplying. Then they are deemed a problem and end up in the shelters of Los Angeles. However, with the annual kill rate in LA shelters averaging over 57,000 animals, they virtually have no chance of survival. There are simply not enough homes. It is our understanding that a number of council members are concerned about the cost of the spay-neuter program. Consider this: it costs far more to house, kill, and dispose of unwanted cats and dogs than a $20 or $30 voucher. It is a disgrace as we approach the turn of the century that Los Angeles has an increasing kill rate. And now it wants to hinder the one program that can reduce this appalling statistic. Do you honestly think that rich people are taking advantage of the voucher program? Why? Because you think their addresses on the vouchers are too nice? Many times a gardener or cleaning lady will be given the voucher and the employer's address will be used because these people are afraid to give out their own address. Are you worried about rescuers using the vouchers for their own pets? Since we're only supposed to have 3 pets, how many times could we have them spayed or neutered? Obviously, this is a ridiculous statement because the operation is performed only once, but I think you get my point. And where do you think us rescuers get our pets in the first place? The streets of Los Angeles. These animals live with us because they are deemed unadoptable for one reason or another. We spend thousands of dollars out of our own pockets, usually...
Okay, we have other people who want to be heard now, please.
I believe that I have not used up as other people have had the opportunity to speak, and I would like to...
You spoke more than the previous speaker, please. Go ahead and finish your statement, but don't...
All right, I will certainly do so. There needs to be public awareness of the overall animal population problem, and the simple solution that they can utilize is needed. Multilingual television, radio, and print public service announcements are needed because very few LA residents know about the voucher program. While if you think about what I have said, remember that another 1,000 animals will die in the shelters this week because there's simply not enough homes. The deaths could have been prevented by simply using the spay and neuter program and stopping the breeding pair.
All right, thank you. Michael Bell, and then Monica Dieter.
Good morning, council members. First, I'd like to tell you, my name is Michael Bell. I am the coordinator for Citizens for Humane Los Angeles, and recently a board member of the Hank Greenberg, Mary Jo Greenberg Foundation, which provides funding for grassroots organizations, animal organizations. I'd like to thank Laura Chick, particularly, for her deputy, Eric Middleton, who called me regarding this issue since I was not aware of it. Hopefully next time I will hear from my own council person. These are the questions I'd like to ask you to think of. One, who is going to screen prospective recipients as to their financial status? How will the screener verify the truthfulness of those answers? How long will the verification take? Does this mean the requester has to send in a tax report? Who will handle the non-English speaking residents, such as Spanish, Russian, Farsi, Korean? How will the council and the department handle those calls, English or otherwise, when history as late as last week has proven that clerks at the shelters are overworked and understaffed? And council deputies often have less information on these issues than the callers. With much of the problem of pet overpopulation emanating from disenfranchised areas, who will those residents trust in government not to share the information at hand if they are lucky enough to acquire it with the INS, the IRS, or any other arm of the law? This does not work this way. Please, go back to the way it was working. Certainly issue free spay and neuter vouchers. These are all city residents.
Thank you.
Please.
Monica Dieter.
Thank you. So much has been said already. I only want to add that at least with the current system, rescue groups like those here today can recommend a vet, can write and send some vouchers, and in some cases can even make the veterinary appointment and do the transportation for the individual calling. At Cat Crossing, when people call us to help with their pets, we require proof that the mother has been spayed. So in all instances, even if they only want to give us the kittens, we make sure that the mother is spayed first, even if they're keeping that pet. We won't adopt out an unaltered cat. And by limiting the voucher distribution, requiring that we have to now check their income, you will limit the assistance and create a time lag in the assistance that we're able to provide. We'll be helping fewer people and ultimately fewer cats and dogs. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you, that's plenty. Susan Taylor.
Hi, my name is Susan Taylor. I'm the Executive Director of Actors and Others for Animals, which is one of the leading spay-neuter humane agencies in the city. We are here to support the department's recommendation that the distribution stay with humane organizations. If the council believes that it is simply a matter of filling out and handing someone a voucher, you have been sadly misled. Merely giving a pet owner a voucher and a list of veterinarians who accept them is like giving a financially strapped person a list of restaurants without a menu description and price list. In the majority of cases, a person seeking a voucher is seeking the easiest and least expensive way to get their animal spay or neutered. If it is not within their budget or it takes a lot of work, they simply will not have it done. And this is critical because the city's pet overpopulation problem is at a hazardous point now. I would like to invite you to review the list of participating veterinarians who a voucher must be used with. This is by no means a list of low-cost vets. In fact, some are very expensive. I can tell you for a fact that if a pet owner were to call some of these vets to use their voucher and found out what they would have to pay, they would not have it done. I turn your attention to Angeles City Animal Med Center on Pico Boulevard. They have no low cost and charges $150 for a cat spay and between $175 and $200 for a small dog spay. With a voucher, that would leave $130 and between $140 and $170 for the person to pay. Actors and Others for Animals, when we help these people, we'll give them the list of the veterinarians. We also provide additional financial support. I can tell you that if the prices are quartered, the pet owner will not have the animal fixed, and this will be a waste of the voucher.
Okay.
Thank you.
Lois Newman, and then Wendy Aragon.
Mr. President, members of council, my name is Lois Newman. I'm president of the Cat and Dog Rescue Association. You see before you today a very frustrated and angry woman. I have spent 21 years in the active humane community here, and I tell you now, we are in worse condition than we were before. Any change in the voucher system will kill it. And what I want to tell you most of all, and I'm sorry to do this to Councilwoman Walters, but you see the perfect example in Council District 9 of a failed city policy. You just cannot go and pick up animals and kill them. It costs $74 to destroy an animal in this city. In the last 3 years, approximately $200,000 city money has been spent to kill extra dogs in Council District 9, and yet there are still the same number of animals. If you were to send out 200 animal control officers tomorrow and in 30 days have them pick up 7,500 dogs, in 6 months there would be 10,000 dogs back there. Killing does not work. We must neuter and spay, so I'm here today to beg you. I begged at the budget hearing to give some of the tobacco money. I am now begging you to take some of the $17 million windfall, $1 million, and give it for neutering and spaying. Thank you.
Gunn, and then Joyce Piper.
Good morning, City Council members.
Your name, please.
Joyce Piper, representing the Fund for Animals, as one of the distributing organizations of these vouchers. Since its inception, I am here to support the General Manager's recommendation. I'll try to be brief. It's my understanding that there was some suggestion, not from the General Manager, that these be distributed by the city shelters themselves. And I just want to be as quick as I can with this short story. I had an occasion to be in one of the shelters last week, and the line was 15 or 20 minutes long. It barely moved. And there was a man in there picking up a dog that had gotten off his property for the third time. When he finally bailed that dog out, as I was going out of the shelter, he started up a conversation with me. I asked him if the dog had been neutered, and he said no, it hadn't. I asked him if the shelter had ever recommended that that dog be neutered, and he said no, they hadn't. I asked him if they'd ever offered a voucher to him to get the dog neutered, and he said no, they hadn't. I gave him all the information that he needed. He went back in, he got his discount coupon, and I called him afterwards as a follow-up. He did get his dog neutered. I don't say this as criticism of the shelter system. I believe that they're doing the best they can with the staff and the time that they have to do it. But they cannot cover the territory that we cover, and we do it for free. This comes as a gift to the city, and I think it's the best deal in town. I urge you to continue it. Thank you.
Okay, certainly the time has expired, but we have Commissioner Reardon. Did you want to be heard?
Just a quick, that I support the Commission's position on keeping the vouchers distribution in the hands of the humane community with regards to financial qualifications, et cetera.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mrs. Chick.
Yes, just wanted to raise one issue, Mr. Knapp, and that is I certainly see in the report and am pleased with the positive results in terms of reducing the number of cats that are being turned into shelters, and that it looks like the spay and neuter vouchers are working quite well in terms of the cat population. But we also have heard and know that we have a serious public safety problem in terms of dogs. Have you looked at ways to, I guess, have some kind of criteria that looks at what I would call species equity in the, as well as geographic equity in terms of distributing the vouchers, so that we could start to maybe make the same kind of progress with the stray dog packs and the increasing dog population that we're doing with cats? And I'm interested in your answer on that.
We haven't evaluated that yet, council member, but there are two things that we can do. One is we can take a look at the demographics of each district and see how many humane qualifying groups are in each district, and assure...
Or that service each district.
Right, that service each district, and assure that those coupons are distributed geographically in those districts. It'll be difficult to do species equity because the individuals come and say, I'm in need, and during cat breeding season, that need is the great. So I'm not quite sure how we would evaluate that, but it's something we could look into.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Fuhr?
Yeah, I was listening carefully to the speakers, and I just want to be sure, speaking to the commission representative and to the department both, that we're doing this in the way that is most likely to get the coupons out widely, quickly, and effectively, and that we're not going to place any hurdles between the people who need these and getting them out. Let me be sure I understand. The proposal before, historically, humane organizations have distributed these vouchers, correct?
That's correct.
The difference this year is that we're establishing financial criteria for the recipients. Is that correct?
That's correct.
You know, and I was talking to representatives from the humane community during the discussion and trying to figure out whether the financial criteria approach makes the most sense here. And let me tell you, I don't have strongly held views. I want to get the right answer, and that's the spirit of my questions here. On the one hand, it makes sense, at least just out of the box, to say that we ought to be getting vouchers, discount vouchers, to people who are in need, and rather than having to go to people who don't need the money. But having run an organization that provided service only to people of very low income and then had to go through a rather cumbersome verification process, I know from firsthand experience that two things were true. One, we were expending money that otherwise could have been devoted to directing the service to the people to verify financial eligibility. And second, I know that there were cases in which we were deterring people from coming forward because of the necessity to verify income levels and the bureaucracy that goes along with that. So I'm open to the discussion here, but I'm troubled by the possibility that we're dissipating very scarce resources in ascertaining income eligibility. I'm concerned about deterring people from coming forward who don't want to disclose it but nonetheless need it. And I heard from people from the humane community as we were talking here who are very experienced on the ground in this area. I heard them express real concern about moving to the verification of financial eligibility approach because of the fact that often people are worrying, as Ms. Newman indicated, for example, about pets that are not theirs. They may not be poor, but the pet isn't theirs. It's in the community. They want to help out, but this would impede their getting something. And we're trying to encourage them to take some responsibility, but it's a lot to ask to spend their own money. So those three questions, please. Give us your best insight into whether this is the best way to go or whether there are some refinements we can make to get the voucher money out quickly, easily, and get the spaying and neutering to actually happen.
The purpose of the financial qualifiers, of course, is to keep the coupons to those who are in low, middle income and below. The benefit is added by ordinance in 1970. The council, in commenting about handing out free spay-neuter coupons to seniors, actually set up a system that'll be quite easy for us to follow. And it just requires that the individual sign a consent form certifying under penalty of perjury, that they're the owner of the animal or otherwise authorized to present the animal for the above operation, and such persons may be required to furnish proof. What we would do, and what we're doing right now, is we have a little box with that statement where the person checks it off. So if we include the financial qualifiers, that's certainly what they can do.
But the point is, it is not, does one have, again, when I was running a free legal services program, people had to bring in proof of what their income was, proof of what their rent was, and so forth. And it took a while to go through that process, and again, people were deterred because they didn't want to have to present that information. Are we requiring that kind of bureaucracy here? You're saying no, just a simple checkoff?
Just a simple checkoff. That's what we're currently doing
All right.
for.
How do you respond to the concerns expressed by one person after another in the humane community saying we'd prefer not to go to this process? And these are people of goodwill who really have no axe to grind either way. They want to get as many pets spayed or animals spayed and neutered as possible. They don't like this approach. Your response to them is?
Councilman Fuhrer, I've had the same experience that you've had in previous experiences, that this becomes very cumbersome. My other alternative would be to not do the physical qualifiers, but instead to place in the policy and the rules that the qualifying groups in good faith would distribute these to those in need.
All right, Mr.
But what's the
Fuhrer.
answer, though?
Mr. Fuhrer, Mr. Savornich was handling this, and you spoke a minute and a half over, so I have to teach him how to...
Thank you, Mr. Savornis. That was
All right,
very gracious of
Mrs.
you.
Walters.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I wanted to ask Mr. Knapp about people who are below the $31,000 mark. I think people there can use vouchers, but I think that you're ignoring a whole group of people whose incomes don't come close to $31,000, and yet they have pets, but they certainly don't have the money to finance even a partial payment on the spaying and neutering. I would like to see some free vouchers issued to people in those lowest income brackets, below $25,000 family household income. And believe it or not, we have families whose household income runs in the $10,000 to $12,000 range, and they have pets. So we certainly need to not foreclose this opportunity for having pets neutered and spayed. And I would like to see you develop a third category of coupons for absolutely free neutering and spaying. That $31,000 as with a discount is too high to reach people who are, say, below the $20,000 range.
Councilman Walters, actually the proposal states that free sterilization coupons will be given to individuals of the HUD very low income threshold of $31,000 and below. So those free spay-neuter income vouchers will be available to anyone from the very, very low HUD level, which is $20,500. And below, all the way up to $31,000.
The other thing, and my time is running out, but I want to hear the response to this. I think $50,000 is too high a threshold for a discount. People whose household income is $50,000 a year can surely afford to spay and neuter their pets, and to use those coupons for people who can afford to do it, I think is taking advantage of the system.
Ms. Goldberg?
I wanted his response, if I may, Mr. President.
The purpose in the commission recommending this was to temporarily keep this range fairly broad, so it wouldn't impact distribution during cat breeding season, but it would again maximize, with the intent of coming back after the spay-neuter ordinance, modifying either the financial qualifiers or looking at free coupon distribution, recognizing that the veterinarians may at that point offer affordable to a broad base of individuals.
That still doesn't answer the problem about people who can afford it at $50,000.
All right, Ms. Goldberg?
I just wanted a quick review. I heard some of the conversation with my colleagues, but I wanted a quick review. Someone walks into my office, wants a voucher. What do I have to get in the way of evidence that they are under 51 or under 31?
In this current proposal, all you would have to do is ask, and they would have to check off that box
Okay,
to do
so
so.
it's basically an honor system.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Mr. Savornich.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. A couple of questions that I do have in regards to the allocation of the $600,000 for fiscal year 1999-2000. I see that we are going to appropriate $150,000 will be expended for approximately 3,000 free sterilizations of pets belonging to senior citizens, and $550,000 will be required for sterilization of approximately 12,500 pets adopted from the shelters, correct?
Yes.
Okay. The question that I do have is under the income levels that we are talking about, and that would be under, I believe, coupons for discount pet sterilizations will be given only to residents who do not exceed the median income level of $51,300 for Los Angeles County, correct?
Correct.
And that the free sterilization coupons will be for individuals or families where the income is $32,850 or less, correct? So of the 3,000 sterilization coupons for pets of senior citizens, that $150,000, do they also have to meet the income criteria?
Yes.
Okay, so the free coupons to the seniors would have to be seniors who fall under the 32,000 threshold?
Yes.
Okay, so in other words, a senior of means would not get a free coupon.
Under this proposal, no.
Okay, but they could get a discount coupon if indeed their level of income was below $51,300.
Yes.
Okay. The other question that I do have is that the officers out in the field are going to be able to provide approximately 5,000 free sterilization coupons to the value of about $250,000. And the officer will be able to make the determination of whether or not the individuals that they are interacting with warrant either a free coupon or whether or not to refer them to a discount coupon, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Finally, I think this is a step in a good direction. I understand that we're in the middle of cat breeding season, and nothing that we meant to do was to go ahead and make sure we had that we didn't have a surge in feline population in the city of Los Angeles. But I think what everyone has to understand is this is taxpayer money, and we have to make sure that we appropriate the $600,000 in the interest of all the taxpayers of the city. And so I think this is a terrific step in the right direction. And is there part of this report, a report back in 6 months, did you mention, to see how the progress was going?
We'll be reporting back to council at the same time we discuss the spay-neuter ordinance.
Okay, and that will be?
We're estimating it'll come back to council by January.
Okay, one of the things I would like to request, Mr. President, is if there is indeed a holdup with the spay and neuter ordinance going forward, that I would like to see this report come back anyway, back to committee in 6 months to see how the progress is going. If that happens to fall at the same time that the ordinance shows up, fine, but I wouldn't want this linked to the ordinance in case we get held up with the ordinance.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hsu. Mr. Burnson.
And I'll move that, Mr. President.
Members of the council, in all due respect to the efforts of Animal Reg and the commission, but basically we have a failed policy because it's not enough. We're not allocating enough resources. We're not doing innovative things that might be done. And I think some of the points I've heard today are very, very accurate from the people who are here. Killing animals is not going to solve the problem. You have to prevent it at the stage by preventing these animals from being born. So one of the things that I would like to suggest is we need to get virtually every veterinarian in this city involved in this program. And one way that we might do that, thank you. One way we might do that is by offering a credit against their business license fee or their gross receipts tax for these types of operations that are done on the animals for sanitizing them. And I would suggest that maybe the commission and the department look at that, because if we're going to solve the problem, we're going to have to get the entire community involved. It isn't just something we're throwing money at it. That alone's not going to work. Basically, from what I heard today, it costs $74 to put to sleep an animal. Well, my goodness, if for a little difference, we can prevent the problem by nipping it in the bud, and I think that's the way we have to go. So I'm not going to support the change today. Maybe it is the best way, but I listened to what I heard out there. I'm going to vote against the change, but I would ask you to find some means of really dealing with this. We're not really dealing with it. We're dealing with the symptoms, but not with the cause. And we need to get down to the bottom and deal with it in a proper manner. And I think that maybe this is a good start. So I can't support what your recommendation is today, because I hesitate to do anything that might detour anybody who would use a coupon to take advantage of this. And so I would hope that we could come back with a better plan and with some more resources. And that's what I'm going to support when it gets here. But please, the commission, take a look at that, some of the suggestions I've made.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Miskowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. My concern was a lot of what Mr. Savornich said, and that is that we really have, if we are changing a system, we need to have some sense of measure as whether or not the system that we're imposing is actually going to work better than what is out there today. I think the issue of distribution by the humane organizations who have been the fulcrum and the main force behind getting anything accomplished must continue, so that part of it is good. And as long as there's not a difficulty in terms of just it's an honest honor system in terms of saying that you're below that income level and can get this without any fuss on the part of those who are being part of our distribution, is fine as a trial. But I absolutely underscore that this should be a trial. And I would like to hear back, I think sooner than 6 months, and I also agree it need not and ought not to be tied to the spay and neuter ordinance, because that may go its own course. But that I would like to see a report back sooner, maybe within 3 months. And as the Animal Regulations Department reports back to us through committee, that we ask the associations, particularly the humane organizations out there, what are they seeing? They are going to be the ones who are going to be implementing in part this change on a now income threshold level. Are they seeing a diminution? Are they seeing less ability of people interested and willing that they are able to talk into and suggest and encourage to have their pets spayed or neutered? And if that is the case, then we need to reverse this policy. If this policy, which is intended to do better, is not doing as well, we need to have a very quick alarm and a quick fix. So I'm willing to support the department's suggestion, also underscoring that I think the most important part of it is that Ms. Walters suggested and that the department is already coming back with, and that is that at a very low level by the HUD standards, that there be free spaying and neutering, because we've got to really start making a very, very serious impact where we can do the most good. And I like Mr. Burnson, am somewhat concerned about just setting up the income level or the income threshold, because I think any incentive we can give across the board at any income level is a valuable one, and that's the way it's been. But I'm willing to look at the recommendation of the department to try it, but only if we have a reaction and an ability to react very quickly within a 3 months fix if it's not meeting any expectations. So I would just like to amend Mr. Savornich's motion to bring it back in 3 months.
Okay, Mr. Padilla.
Question for the department on a slightly different topic. What data has been collected as to the actual use of the vouchers in years past?
There's been a data based upon usage, for example, the 66% figure that I gave you, and also the only other data that's really been collected is the anecdotal that Councilmember Miskowski was talking about, of whether they were effective or not through the groups.
Right, that's something I'd also like to be incorporated into the new program. Specifically, not just overall numbers of this is how many vouchers came back to us, but specific statistical breakdowns in terms of geographic area, income levels as we're considering. Thank you.
Mrs. Chick for a second time, or a third time?
Yes, with the recommendation of my colleagues in terms of paying close attention to the results to make sure that it's a positive program and not one that inhibits the important good work of distributing the vouchers. I will support the Commission and the Department's recommendations today, but I would like to revisit what Mr. Bernson was recommending. And Mr. Bernson, I think we ought to turn that into a motion, and it should be your motion, but to direct the Commission, the Department working with the Commission to come back to Public Safety Committee in conjunction with the City Clerk with recommendations about some kind of business tax incentive or business tax relief program that would incentivize the city's veterinarians to offer free sterilization, spay and neutering of dogs and cats in exchange for relief on their gross receipts tax. And I'll let Mr. Bernson move that, and I would like to be a seconder. And with, okay.
If they,
and with that,
if they don't charge, it's not going to be on their gross receipts.
right, but they have lots of other services that are, and I think that we need to offer that incentive because these are fairly costly procedures, and veterinarians would be giving up a certain amount of income in order to participate. But clearly, the way to reduce our unwanted pet population, the stray pet population, the feral cat population, is through spay and neutering and through these vouchers. And it's difficult to keep coming up with additional money through the general fund. What Mr. Bernson is suggesting is a way to do it without being a hit on the taxpayers and being a benefit for veterinarians in the private sector. I'd really like to pursue that line. Thank you.
Mr. Fuhrer?
In the course of my previous several-hour oration on this topic, I actually asked a question that I didn't get an answer yet on. And I have one more besides that. Let me repeat. Almost every person from the humane community who spoke expressed major concern about this change in course. I would like to know the department's response concretely to why you think this is a better course of action, given that the people who've been working on these issues in the field for so many years are expressing a contrary view.
The representing the commission, the answer on the basis of the commission is they are responding to council's request for financial qualifiers. Responding on my own behalf as the general manager, I believe that it's much more efficient not to require those financial qualifiers because the humane groups have been very, very effective. From my past experience, it has been very cumbersome to do that and does discourage individuals. So it is a balance, and I know this is not as concise as you, council member, would appreciate, but it's a balance between spending our tax dollars wisely and assuring that those of upper income don't get it, but at the same time being as efficient as possible.
Do we have any data to suggest that people of upper income were receiving these vouchers before?
We have no data because we didn't collect the data.
Do we have even anecdotal information that suggests that was the case?
A considerable amount.
That suggests that they were being used by people who should have been able to afford it themselves?
No. In fact, I asked for statements from the humane community for anecdotal information, and the majority of them shared that they are sure that they are being used for people who cannot afford the spay-neuter service.
Well, let's discuss this balance just a little bit further. So what you're saying is the information that we have up to now, the factual information, not the suggestions, is the humane community believes it is distributing these to people who are appropriate recipients of the vouchers because they are of low income. At least that's the perception of the people giving them out. And are you saying that you believe that there will be at least some diminution in service because of this even simplified version of income eligibility validation?
Yes, I do.
All right. So why would we want to do that? Ms. Reardon, I'm sorry?
You folks asked
Speak
us-
into the microphone.
You asked...
Besides the request from council, is there any reason on the merits that you can identify to move to this change?
No.
The only merit that I would identify, council member, is to have a statistical qualifier that assures all of our citizens that we're utilizing the taxpayers' money. In terms of efficiency and getting the job done and getting the number of animals spayed, neutered, and down, the financial qualifier will limit.
Well, you know, I'm going to conclude here, because I'm sure my time is up now, and it's a minute and a half from the last time I still owe you. But the thing is, colleagues, we're hearing from the experts now the most candid comment that's been given throughout the whole discussion, and that is that some spaying and neutering or some other animal services won't be provided, it is the view of those at the center table, because we're moving to do this administrative process in a context where no one has identified a problem yet. I'm troubled by that, I will say.
All right. Mr. Bernstein?
Yeah, first of all, I do want to make that in a motion as far as the suggestion that they come back with a report on how we can utilize veterinarians giving credits against gross receipts tax. That's number one. The second thing I heard was that I know that all adopted animals are neutered. But my understanding is, from what I heard, is that somebody who was picking their pet up for the third time that had gotten out of the yard, and the pet was still not neutered. There should be a requirement when pets are claimed by their owners that those pets be neutered if they're not already so. And I would suggest that you come back with a recommendation for an ordinance to require that. And just getting back to the point, I think it's very clear after hearing from the commission and the department head that we really aren't changing something that's broken. You know, we're doing something administratively that may cause a lapse or people who take advantage of the program not to do so. And I think that would be a mistake. But I am fully committed to trying to deal with the problem and giving whatever resources it takes, by the way, within reason, of course, because we have other obligations. But we have to realize that it costs us a lot of money to put animals to sleep. And I think that if we just add a little to that, we can solve some of the problems with a little innovative ideas and thinking and getting more people involved in the problem. So I would make that a motion, and I think Ms. Chick is going to second the motion first. And I would really like to see you come back with a policy on not on adoptions, but on reclaiming your pet, that your pet must be neutered when you reclaim it. I think that's very important.
Mr. Savornich?
Yeah, one final question also. When we were talking about this during the budget process in regards to the distribution of these vouchers, and you've come back with these income thresholds, and so many are going to go for the 51,000 and above, so many from the 32,000 and below. One of the questions that we had during the budget process also was the amount of vouchers that someone could request. And a lot of folks have more than one pet that, of course, needs to be spayed or neutered. Is there a limit in this program on how many vouchers a person could request? Because during the budget season, someone could go in, an individual, we're not talking about groups or humane societies or anyone else, but a person could go into a animal shelter and say, I'd like to have 50. And there were no criteria by which we would say, well, you can't have 50, here they are. And then, of course, there was no tracking system if there were individuals actually getting 50 or not. And so that was just part of the safeguard that we were trying to do also. Is there some type of number that we're restricting or not restricting on this also?
There isn't a written policy restricting the number. We have polled the humane groups and separately, and many of them have said we do limit it to 3 or below.
Okay. How about individuals, though, a person walking into a shelter?
People walking into the shelter, from what my staff has told me, is that they also limit them. They don't hand out more than 3.
Okay, but if the person had more than 3 pets that needed to be taken care of, they could come back at another occasion and get those if they chose to?
That's correct.
Okay. The one thing that I want to avoid is someone being able to go into a shelter and say, I'll have 50 of these or 60 of these or whatever, and not have some type of check or balance where there's no rule or regulation that says, well, you can't have that. And so I just wanted to make sure that that was covered. But it's not covered in the context of this?
No, it's not included.
Who goes in and asks for 50?
I'm not saying that anyone is, Mr. President. But I want to make sure that if indeed this is going to be a policy that is in effect, that if there is a person or persons out there that would want to abuse the system, that people that deserve the certificate should be able to have them, whereas a person requesting that money for whatever, that amount for whatever reason, wouldn't abuse the system. That's all.
All right, Ms. Sikowski?
Mr. President, I was, I think, very persuaded when Mr. Fuhrer asked Mr. Knapp the basic question about does the Animal Regulation Department agree with this policy that you're bringing forward, and that this is a policy you brought forward at the direction and request of the council. But I think when you basically answered yourself as to what does the department feel and the commission in terms of having a choice on the matter, that you would not put in the income threshold yourself. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. I think given that information that the council pursued something in budget, as we often do, because of a concern, both anecdotally and as it's been generally provided, in fact, we do not have statistical evidence that there has not been an abuse, that there has not been a large number of these, the vouchers for spay and neutering that have been given to areas, to entities that are, don't have some need. And I think that without having that information, we ought not to change the policy. We don't know that it's broke. We've had a policy come in based on a supposition, whereas I think if we vote against this today, but ask the department to come back, incorporate the policy changes in terms of distribution. I think that makes sense. Incorporate the policy change in terms of looking at the very low income level and creating a real incentive by way of free spaying and neutering. That makes sense. I think the suggestion that Mr. Burnson has talked about, which is incorporating the veterinarian community with incentivization on taxes, that makes sense. But to just arbitrarily now put in a threshold, which has already been said that the threshold, how relevant might it be at 50,000, is not something worth doing. Instead, let's start getting empirical data the other way. Let's leave the policy in place. Let's start asking the humane distribution centers and others that are putting these vouchers out to see if they can get people to voluntarily to answer questions. So we start getting some data. What are the income levels? How many pets do you have? Start getting some information that will make it useful for us. Where do your pets come from? And I also think I agree with Mr. Burnson. I think it might be interesting to ask the city attorney whether or not we can legally, as an animal regulation control officer, having picked up a pet, force something on that pet in terms of giving it back. But I think it's worth exploring with the city attorney. And so I think we have an awful lot of information here that is valid to gather, look forward to best distribution of the system. But at this point, I think we were about to act on something that I don't know that we had any true, serious empirical evidence on. And as much as we can do to continue incentivizing the system, we ought to. And as we were concerned about asking for a report just based on the perception that by adopting this today as it was recommended, we might be disincentivizing a system, it's not a step we ought to take unless we have information, hard data, and something in front of us that we can really act on. So I think that I appreciate Mr. Knapp's honesty. I just would encourage you in the presentation of the report to perhaps say that out front, to say we are responding to the council's policy and this is being presented. However, we don't necessarily agree, and we don't think there's data there, and we don't think there's information there, and we might have spent a little bit less time getting to at least the synthesis of some of this conclusion.
Mr. Knapp, what are you recommending? There's been so much discussion on this, and we have a lot of amendments. What is the actual recommendation that you're giving to the City Council?
The recommendation agrees with Councilmember Miskowski that we leave the program as is, that we do not have financial qualifiers, and that we collect this empirical data, returning to the council with that information in 3 months.
Okay. All right. Mr. Wax?
I have not felt all along that we should have financial qualifiers, yet I feel we should make an extra effort to make sure that these get in the hands of low-income people who need them. And there's not an inconsistency there. The need to provide these coupons for low-income people, to me, is both self-evident and it's urgent. But to focus on that as a requirement overlooks two other aspects that need attention: the animal itself and the humane treatment of the animal, and the potential victim of, for example, an animal running loose. It doesn't do it doesn't do much, it's not much comfort to someone who is attacked, even a low-income person being attacked by an animal who happened to have been owned by a higher-income person. So I think you've got to think of all three. You have to think of how to provide incentives and encourage and enable low-income owners to spay and neuter their pets, and beyond that, to educate them as to the humane treatment of animals. But you have to also consider the treatment of the animal out there who knows nothing about the owner's wealth or poverty, and the potential victims out there. And to do that means that you really can't put a requirement, you can't have this type of a requirement, but you can make an effort and perhaps do more things in order to accomplish the goal of making sure that they are distributed and used in lower income communities. So I think that you can do both without having the negative consequences of only limiting it to income requirements. So I would really support Ms. Misikowski's approach, with the caveat that you come up also with programs or ways in which you can make an extra effort where, as appropriate, needed to make sure that these do reach down into low-income pet owners. And I think you can do both without hindering yourself.
Mr. Pacheco.
I just want to know what current programs, if any, exist for low-income residents. According to the letter here, we're looking at $32,850 as a point where someone can receive free pet sterilization under this new program. Is there any current programs available to people below that income range to get free pet sterilization?
The only program available that's set up right now is for seniors.
Only for seniors?
Only for seniors.
And that was a policy decision made when?
By the City Council some time ago, and I don't have that in front of me.
Well, when we say some time ago, I'm only 35, so what's some time ago? 10 years ago?
I have
35
here
years
the
ago?
ordinance was
Hal?
1970.
I believe, and it was a motion that I had introduced. I'm older than 35, Mr. Pacheco, to encourage seniors to be able to bring animals from the pounds without having to go through the expense of the spay and
You
neutering.
weren't interested in that
At the time, no. In the 70s,
okay.
no. I was still working with crayons. But my point is still the same. I really support the efforts of trying to get the lower income residents this service. So what I'm hearing, though, is some concern about the limitations for those individuals above $51,300. And I think Mr. Wax makes a good point in that there's no inconsistency in encouraging the lower income people to participate. So what, are you going to give us a report on the availability or possibility of incorporating free pet sterilization if this goes back to your?
If I understand the direction of council, when we come back in 3 months, we will also have a component of this program that speaks to free sterilization.
Okay.
Ms. Goldberg.
I'd like to move the previous question.
Mrs. Walters hasn't spoken a second time, so, all right, Mrs. Walters.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To Mr. Knapp and the council members, this has come up because of an unequal distribution of these vouchers that allow discounts on spaying and neutering of current uneven distribution. And let me read you by council district what the numbers are, the distribution. Mike Hernandez in District 1 had 6. District 3 had 7, 4 had 3, 5 had 7, 7 had 6, 8 had 3, and my district that is overrun by these stray animals had 5, 10 had 3. But let me read you the other side of it now. Council District 2 had 22, 11, which I don't think has any low-income residents, had 19, and 13, which does have a mixture of low-income and higher-income people, also had 19. But for the most part, and I know that there's some low-income residents in District 2, but for the most part, you can look at this and say that the poor people of the city, where the problem is the greatest, did not have access to these vouchers. Council District 15 had 12, received 12, and I think they have a problem in the northern part of the district. But to look at this, you've got to say that something is wrong. The pet population, the city is overpopulated with pets in the poor areas of the city. But it is not the poor areas of the city that have access to these distributions. And then if you look at the organizations on here, if you're not going to pass, even if we pass the report today, the organizations should be asked to provide by area the distribution of these spay and neutering vouchers. Where in the city do they distribute these? So that we have a more complete picture of where they're distributed and how they're distributed. This pet population is never, or overpopulation, is never going to be addressed if we are not willing to look at the neighborhoods that are the poorest, see that they also have the highest number of pets, and you don't need empirical data to do that. I just invite anybody to drive through the district and see how many times you have to break for animals, or see how many times you see stray pets wandering up and down the streets, the major thoroughfares, the freeway. Every once in a while I pick it up, the paper up, and an animal has been killed on the freeway, a stray animal. We must do something about this, and we can't dither and dather around the issue of whether we ask for income information or we don't. Let's get the services to the areas of highest need first.
Thank you, Mrs. Waldron. Mr. Savornich? Mr. Savornich moves the previous question. Prepare the roll on the previous question, which would cut off the, would this previous question tabulate the vote?
11 ayes.
Okay. We have a lot of amendments, but the recommendation of the department is to leave the program as is. Shall we refer all these amendments to the committee? Ms. Sikowski, I know you would love to.
All the motions can be adopted as well. They ask for the Tax and Permit Division to look at creating a program. They look for the 3-month review. I don't think there was anything that was among the motions that we ought not to adopt as part of this report, which then will all come back to us. But the major part of the motion is to delete the financial threshold for the voucher system.
Okay. What is your point?
The question that I do have is that we have a verbal report from the general manager of the department versus the written report, and so what we're asking is that we substitute the verbal for the written.
Mr. Savornis, I made a motion that we delete the financial threshold, which is the only change in the written report.
Okay. All right, then we're going to adopt the department's recommendation and the amendments. Prepare the roll.
Mr. President, I'd like to ask for a point of information before you call the roll, please.
What is your point?
From Ms. Sikowski, I'd like to know why she wants this income threshold eliminated.
I think I was responding to the general manager and the impression that I got as created from the commission that they were responding in this report to a council previous request, but when asked independently what their independent recommendation was, it was to delete that income level. And I think Mr. Nash.
Then my question would go to the general manager. Why are you recommending that the income threshold be eliminated, and what plans do you have for a better distribution of these things?
Go ahead and answer, but we've cut off debate.
I don't want debate. I just want to hear his
Yeah, well,
response.
I know,
I didn't hear that during the debate.
Well,
And I appreciate your allowing the question.
go ahead.
We responded to council's request for the financial qualifiers, Commission supported that. Staff shared with council in this meeting that we felt that those financial qualifiers would be a disincentive for distribution at this particular time, and suggested that we return to you in 3 months with a verbal report, as Councilman Zavornich has stated. Councilmember Mizikowski has just included in the motion that we continue to distribute as per this recommendation, or start to distribute per this recommendation, free spay-neuter vouchers. So we will be doing that, if this motion passes, through our officers to those in the districts most in need on low income.
Okay. Prepare the roll on Mrs. Kowski's motion with the amendments. Tabulate the vote.
9 ayes, 2 noes.
That is approved. The next item.
Item 27 called special.
We have item 21. There was somebody that wanted to be heard on 21.
I'd like to ask forthwith on item 13, please.
Forthwith on item 13. Item 21, is there a Cecil?
Have you registered the no vote on the last time? I hit my button. I don't know what. Won't change the outcome.
Would you give your name, please?
Gail Bernstein.
Huh?
Gail Bernstein.
Okay, Ms. Bernstein, go ahead.
I'm here to appeal the recommendation of the REAP Committee to place property at 6615 Darby into its program. I have written
Laura?
and picture evidence of the work that is ongoing at this property. And I've talked to Frank Bush and David Littman, who are inspectors and senior inspectors for the housing program. The last inspection was on the 8th of June, and we were verbally told by the inspector that at that time that he would not recommend this program be instituted at this property. And if you wish to see my written documentation, I was requested by them to bring this to someone today so that they could look at the pictures and the evidence.
Okay, thank you. All right,
Yes, I was fully prepared to ask us to go forward today on information I've received from the Housing Department, but what I just heard from the speaker about building and safety, I would appreciate, Mr. President, if we could hold this over until tomorrow so I can clarify with building and safety before I urge my colleagues to move forward and put the property into REAP.
okay, first of all, you move reconsideration of 21 for the purpose of continuing 1 day.
Yes, thank you.
All right, there's no objections, that will be the order. The next item,
Item number 27 called special.
we have Leonard Shapiro wants to be heard.
Mr. President and council members, item 27 concerns the extension of a 3-year lease for a total of $540,000 to automate the golf and tennis reservation system. Now, this contract ran out on March 17, 1999, and now they're coming to you 4 months later and tell you that they got to pay these people for continuing work, which is completely unauthorized. Now, this is done quite a bit. It shouldn't be done. They should come to you, they should start on this 6 months or a year ahead of time and then worry about it. Well, now I've been told, when I checked this out with the CAO's office and Rec and Parks, that this outfit has really contributed something to this reservation system. While the average used to be 3-4 years ago was 7-8 minutes on the phone line to get a reservation, now it's been cut down to 1 minute. So thank God for little favors. They did do something. But now they say they have to upgrade and enhance this project. And they need another year to do it. They've already spent 4 months enhancing it and upgrading it. We don't know exactly what they have to do, but they just want to keep on doing it. Now, that's the main point. This involves a lease. You got a lease with this company that they will fix this up and operate it. Well, now this lease is, as far as I can determine, is going to continue in the future. Now, if in the past you have had actually a manual system where 5 operators would take the reservations, mark them down on a sheet of paper and do it. Now you've automated and you've lowered the time, so you've done something. But the point is it going to continue? How much is it going to cost to lease with this outfit? Is it something like Lockheed is doing with the parking tickets? where it continues and continues and continues. They don't do a good job, but it continues. Is that what's happening here? It doesn't specify in here what's happening, and I think there's some more information that has to be done. I don't, this outfit, as I say, cut the time from 8 minutes to 1 minute, and that's to their credit. But where are we going, Mr. President?
Thank you, Mr. Shapiro. We have item number 27. Councilwoman Goldberg, I believe you had a question on this item? Okay. Anyone else on item number 27? Seeing no other speakers, please open the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
That item is approved. Next item.
Item number 28 called special.
Councilwoman Goldberg?
Yes, I just wanted to know in this terms of as-needed land surveying, we don't do land surveying in-house?
We have staff.
Okay, so I
Please take
thought
a
we
seat
did,
here
which is
and
why I was
answer the
curious why we
councilwoman's
needed to make a $900,000, what's in $300,000 increase, but make a $900,000 contract.
We have both. We have surveyors under contract with us. Right now, we only have one surveyor, and that's the one that we're here for today. But we also are now using Public Works. They've availed themselves to us, and we are using them. But this, in that we only have one firm, we're down to one firm at this time, there is quite a bit of work with Prop K, Prop A2, Prop A.
How long is Prop K and Prop K funding going to continue?
Prop K is going to continue for another 24 years.
Right. Don't we think maybe if this is going to be an ongoing issue that we ought to
We're in the
not
process of doing
continue
that.
contracting this?
We're in the process right now of hiring some new firms.
Okay, and as you hire now hiring new firms is still external.
That's true.
Why wouldn't we consider just beefing up the number of surveyors we have internally as long as this is an ongoing program? I'm not talking about if you had, 3 years and then out.
Well, Rec and Parks doesn't have any surveyors. We're using Public Works as a contractor, actually. We go to them and we pay them through the IDO process.
Well, are you at the end of the first $600,000 that you've done?
With this firm, Soloff?
Yes.
I believe we're getting close. We
All
had
right.
4 surveyors, and one of them went out of business prior to the contract completing.
In order not to delay this, let me make the following amendment. I don't mind going ahead with this, but I'd like to ask that this item, the issue of surveyors for Prop K, be referred to the Personnel Committee for a little longer-term discussion about inside, outside, ongoing needs. I have no problem for external contractors for things we can't do and for things that are for a very short term and it makes no sense to hire people.
Councilman, would you like to put a date certain, like 30 days?
Yes, have them come to personnel within 30 days to discuss the issues. I'm not going to say, don't do this 300,000, but I do think we need to have a little longer discussion since we're talking about a 25-year program.
Sure.
We have item number 28 before us as amended by Councilwoman Goldberg. A motion is required. Councilwoman Goldberg moves. Councilman Fuhrer seconds. Would you please prepare the roll?
Okay, baby. I'll talk to you later.
Tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
That item is approved. Next item.
Item number 29 called special by Councilmember Goldberg.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Goldberg.
It's really the same issue. This, though, goes from $500,000 to $1.3 million for geotechnical consulting services.
Can I add one thing on this
Feel
one?
free.
Okay, this is with John Byer and Associates. He's a geotechnical engineer, and he is the engineer of record at Potrero Canyon, which is a long-suffering, long-time project that we have that's going to go on for quite some time. And Mr. Byer needs to be down there and make inspections on a regular basis. And in that he is the engineer of record, he's going to be there for a while.
This is for one project?
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Goldberg, this is Potrero Canyon, which is the $30 million project in the Palisades where the grading is going on, general funds, houses having slid down, and monitoring the fill so that we can create some lots that can be recaptured.
So who's
and
paying
sold.
the $1.3 million for Buyer Group? The people who want this graded, or?
This is the City of Los Angeles Recreation and Parks Department property.
I see.
Some 30 lots are above it, many of which had homes on it that fell into the canyon. This is the ongoing project.
I remember now. So is this part of a settlement? I know we were sued quite a bit.
as I believe, this is a contract amendment to the buyer group, which have been providing some services as the city has been going forward and completing the fill, and this is just a technical amendment to continue his services, both with the
I
drainage.
know it's a technical amendment, I'm just trying to figure out who's going to pay the $1.3 million.
Staff, can you answer
This is-
the council members?
Well, I believe that the $1.3 million is coming out of the project budget. So it would be paid like,
Project has a budget for geotechnical services to
well,
the
the project has an overall budget, and part of it would be for overhead, would be design, geotechnical engineering services of all types, whatever's necessary for the project.
I think that Arts, Health, and Humanities should get some report back on the progress on this whole issue when we're talking about these kinds of monies. And I don't sit on that committee, but I urge that, well, I'll move that we get within 30 days some kind of report back on what the total costs are for finishing the Potrero project.
Second.
Okay. Very good. We have item number 29 before us as amended. A motion by Councilwoman Goldberg and a second by Councilwoman Miskowski. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That item is approved. Next item.
Item number 40 called
Who called item number 40 special? Chair recognizes Mr. Burnson on item number 40.
I simply called it special to ask that Cal State Northridge be considered also as a potential site. But I understand there is a amendment that includes all portions of the city. So I'll be happy to. What's 41? What is 40? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought it was 41.
Well, just as soon as we vote on it, prepare the roll on 40. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That is approved forthwith on that. Okay, item 41
Is the one, yeah.
but we have an amending motion, but we have some people who want to be heard. We have Richard Alarcon.
Richard Alarcon?
Is he here? You don't look like Richard Alarcon. Are you going to speak for him? Yes, please. You could have put your name on here.
Hi, my name is Ray Ness, and I'm here on behalf of State Senator Richard Alarcon. I just wanted to read a quick statement. Dear President Ferraro and members of the City Council, I am writing to express my support for the motion before you concerning the DreamWorks SKG Studio Complex. This complex will revitalize the San Fernando Valley and keep in our city a project that is vital not only to the city economy, but would retain our status as the entertainment capital of the world. Since DreamWorks SKG has decided not to pursue its plan with the Playa Vista project, it is now time for us to create another attractive incentive package to ensure that this project does not leave the Los Angeles area. The site in North Hollywood that the CRA and JARCO are considering for this project is truly ideal for a studio. Not only is it easily accessible to public transportation, but is in close proximity to Universal Studios, currently the home of DreamWorks SKG, and to the North Hollywood Arts District. The fact that this site is within a community redevelopment area provides the city with an excellent opportunity to offer additional incentives to attract DreamWorks SKG. We as a community have been increasingly concerned about runaway production companies. We are being challenged to create more opportunities to keep Los Angeles as a leader in the entertainment industry. This is an opportunity we cannot ignore. It would bring thousands of industry jobs to the city and establish a new center of production in the 20th Senate District. I therefore urge you to vote for this motion, establish and allow the CRA, CLA, CAO, and City Attorney's Office and the affected council districts to proceed with presenting DreamWorks SKG with an incentive package that will keep this project here in our city. Thank you for your consideration.
Okay, thank you. Leonard Shapiro.
Mr. President and council members, first of all, I'd like to say that I back the project of encouraging DreamWorks to operate in the San Fernando Valley and North Hollywood. Secondly, I'm making the point here, be careful, because this project was knocked out of Playa del Rey, because the financial arrangements weren't good. They were horsing around too much, and after wasting quite a number of years on it and all that, and taking all the incentives from the city, they came in. They decided to leave. Now they've left the city and told you they're not interested, and you're trying, under the instruction of Mr. Wax and Mr. Ferraro and the mayor, to encourage them to come back in again, and you're reassembling that crackerjack team that you had to do it. The CRA, the CLA, the CAO, the city attorney, and the council members also. I suggest you have this Jocko outfit.
Rudy, did you take
That's
my pen?
developing 30 acres in North Hollywood. And I say, what do they have to their credit? Who is this Jocko outfit? They own a lot of property, or they control a lot of property, but they've been dickering around with this for 3 or 4 years. I attended quite a number of meetings where they were telling the CRA what they were going to do, and so far nothing's been done. So I say, once burnt, twice be careful. When you're dealing with this outfit, Jocko, make sure that there's proper safeguards instituted, because otherwise you'll be spinning your wheels and wasting your time, not even getting them in again, because DreamWorks does not want any more financial hassles. They took all the incentives that you offer. They'll take them again if you offer them. But they don't want any financial hassles. And right now, as far as I can tell, and people have told me, there's financial hazards ahead. So watch your step when you're dealing with this outfit, Jocko, that's going to develop this stuff. How much money do they have? Let's see their
All right,
financial
thank you very
statement.
much, Mr. Shapiro.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. We do have an amendment to Mr. Hernandez. It's got 41A, and it broadens the area substantially. But Mr. Burnson, you want to add Cal State Northridge? You mean on?
Yes, I'd
campus?
like to add Cal State Northridge to that, please.
They got land on the.
They've got land.
Yeah, and we want San Pedro, and we want the 7th District, Mr. Alarcon's district, and so we'll broaden this to include every inch of the city of Los Angeles. Huh? Huh? Well, yeah. So, Mr. Wax?
Well, obviously, I have no objection to anyone looking at any site they want, but I don't want this to diminish the ability to immediately proceed with the North Hollywood site. I don't want to chase sites forever and not have any site. The original motion is regarding a specific site which has unique qualities that make it possible that it might be made to be a perfect match. You have already the awarding of an exclusive right to negotiate with JARCO. You've got over 30 acres, possibly 42. You've got a transit site opening next year. You've got it in a redevelopment area, which is particularly keyed to arts and entertainment related industries, and you have an economic package that is already there in line to this site in terms of federal assistance, several grants for site preparation, infrastructure, et cetera. And you have what the city was offering, as it would offer any business who provides a quality permanent long-term jobs in terms of a jobs credit. I think it's really imperative that our city staff take those facts and those circumstances and immediately make a presentation to DreamWorks. In addition to that, if it wants to look at all the other sites that council members were fine, but I don't want to make looking at everything else in the city before we proceed with going ahead with this site, Mr. President, because we're ready on this site and we've got something specific, and I think if you delay forever, you end up with nothing. So long as the understanding is that the staff and the team will move forward on the North Hollywood site now expeditiously with all it has, then fine, and then it can also, after that, look at all the other sites. But it just simply can't look at every site in the city before you go ahead on one, or you'll end up with nothing. So if I'd like that to be the understanding. I don't know if that's your understanding, Mr. President.
We can make amend it in such a way that these other properties are available if they're that interested.
Yeah, but that the staff move forward on the North Hollywood site now in terms of making the presentation.
Okay, well, that doesn't make any difference, Mr. Burnson. Mr. Fuhr.
Yeah, I want to say that I share Mr. Wax's concern. I think that we could be dissipating a focus that's really pretty important to be riveted in the North Hollywood area. I guess I wouldn't have difficulty were the city team to be assembled and be the recipient of proposals from areas around town that have a package of ideas to present. And if that's the spirit of the motion, so be it. Because already, if that team were assembled with that in mind, there is a concerted effort properly placed on the North Hollywood area. If it's anything other than that, I think we're making a mistake, because what we're doing is trying to be all things to everybody, and in the process, we will fail to achieve the goal. So if it isn't literally a motion, that would be my motion, that the city team be assembled as Mr. Wax has referred to them. I think we discussed the CLA and the CAO and the city attorney and others. That it be prepared to receive concrete proposals from representatives of other areas in town that may have an idea for how to site DreamWorks or other studios in their territories. But that the first cut be that which is already on the table, which is a North Hollywood piece. All right, so otherwise I just,
Meant by that,
because
Mr.
otherwise,
Perry,
see, my
exactly.
concern to crystallize it is, many of us on this council floor have to think appropriately said that dividing by 15 all the time is a bad way to allocate resources, because sometimes there's a more focused need in one area or another. Well, sometimes there are moments, there are opportunities that are more focused in one area over another, and it doesn't denigrate the balance of our council districts to have that focus be placed where it belongs.
Mr. Savornich.
I pass, Mr. President.
Yes, just two things. First of all, I think this is a dream working, because I think the three principals have made it very clear they're no longer interested, period. Because, but that's okay. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. But I just wanted to add a little, maybe touch of reality. I think that the most likely thing, because they don't want to spend any of their own money, the most likely thing that they want to do is to expand maybe where they already are. But maybe they'll go somewhere else, and I have no objection to them being looking at North Hollywood. The only exception to the list that was ticked off is, I would say, and it's not my district, but Mr. Hernandez is on jury duty, and I know if he were here, he would say that Taylor Yards is ready right now also. It has infrastructure being built, it has various grants, it has a lot of attention and a master plan. And, well, I don't know about Houston, you'll have to make that argument. I'm only talking about the one that I'm sure my colleague would speak if he were not on jury duty. And I would say that it is already under consideration for a number of ideas, and I just would urge that we look at that immediately, because I don't think North Hollywood is the only area that's ready to go right now. And I agree, though, that the others, many of the others, and I won't speak for all of them because I don't know all of them, but many of the others may not be ready to go. I'm just saying that I think we should put a priority on those that could be offered immediately. I don't think any of it will result in anything, but if there are things, there are programs or locations where immediate action could be taken, I think those should be presented. And that includes, to my way of thinking, Taylor Yards, because I know that's been worked on for years, and it does have a plan, and it does have resources for infrastructure. So I would slightly tweak the motion to saying that we make a distinction between areas which are immediately ready and areas which have to be developed, and Taylor Yards is immediately ready.
Mr. Wax.
First, Ms. Goldberg, it's nothing ventured, nothing lost, as opposed to nothing ventured, nothing gained. Venture sometimes can produce gains, even if it isn't the gain you originally had in mind. Again, Mr. President, I would support any motion for anyone to look at any other site, but I don't want that. My motion was for North Hollywood. Mr. Ferraro's motion was for North Hollywood. If others want to bring in motions for theirs, which they hadn't until amendments to ours, fine. But I want the focus to be first, that the first presentation be North Hollywood. The motion would then change slightly, Ms. Goldberg, to others. It wouldn't be Mr. Ferraro in our office dealing, when it comes to Taylor Yards, it would be the team with Mr. Hernandez's office. And I don't, Mr. Ferraro and I weren't putting ourselves in to be the negotiating team for every other site in town. We had this in on this one. So move forward on North Hollywood, and then move forward on any of the others after that, and have the appropriate council members for those districts being involved in those. But I just simply want to reiterate that it would be a benefit to the city wherever they are, but we're moving on this site because we're ready on this site, and we have something to offer on the site, and we want to offer it, and it'll either work or it won't work, or there might be a modification, or there might be, who knows what will come out of it, and then the others can come along and do similar things if it doesn't, but you got to start somewheres, and we didn't start putting in 20 different things while Playa Vista was being considered. We allowed Playa Vista to play itself out. Believe me, it would have been very easy for Mr. Farrar and I to have put in motions then on North Hollywood. We, because of the dynamic, we allowed that site to take its course, and we're now moving with this one. And my motion is that that's what we do. And if this works out, great. And if it doesn't work out, there may be others. But you just can't simply you have to focus somewheres, and our motion is focusing on the one that we're most familiar with and believe is the most ready. So that still has to be the priority on this.
Mr. Burnson.
I don't have any problem with the North Hollywood site. It's probably the most likely appropriate site. But, you know, I think that we shouldn't overlook anything. There are a number of other areas that might be considered. The reason you didn't put anything in while Playa Vista was being considered is because DreamWorks themselves selected Playa Vista at the time. So it would not have been appropriate. Right now, they've not selected anything. It's up to us to go to them with proposals. I haven't really talked to formally, although I've had suggested at times to some of the management over at CSUN that they might possibly utilize some land over there in conjunction with their theater arts programs and so forth. They do have the land. There may be some benefits, not just city benefits, but state benefits, because it is state land as far as tax credits. So I think they should be considered also. But I don't question the fact, Mr. Wax and Mr. Ferraro, and even though you're closer to those districts, that they are probably the most likely, because you have that district that's been created there, which is something that is of great credit to the city, I think. But let's move forward with this thing, but let's not rule out anybody. There are a variety of choices, and I think probably the most outstanding would be North Hollywood. But let's not cast aside the others and say, well, they don't count. Let's give everybody some consideration.
Okay, we have, how do we amend 41A to include every part of Los Angeles?
You don't need to include everything.
Well,
Mr. President, what I attempted to move, which I think got a second from Mr. Wax, was that the team of experts be assembled, the city team, and that they be the recipients of proposals that are prepared from council members or others for given sites. So the first of which I think that's prepared is the North Hollywood site. If others come online, they come online, but that we do it in a way that begins with a proposal that's actually ready to go, and that doesn't dissipate our focus by looking everywhere at once.
Ms. Sakowski, did you want to be heard?
Same line, that the North Hollywood site is the one that we are offering and indicating that there is an incentive package. And if that doesn't work, there are others that we would like them to consider, but that clearly the North Hollywood be put forward with the emphasis, because in fact it does seem to meet an awful lot of the concerns that they raised in terms of geography, in terms of closeness to the other studios, so it has a symmetry.
Okay, Ms. Goldberg?
And there's what?
Not that you found yet.
No wetlands in North Hollywood. There's a nice river
No
in
Indian
Taylor
tribes,
Yards, though.
No Indian tribes also.
I guess my concern would be only this, and that is that, you know, if you're a real estate agent, in quotes, and you show somebody one piece of property, and you say, well, I don't want to show you anything else until we've explored that one piece of property. I don't think that makes any sense. I mean, I think we ought to have an opportunity to tell them that there are some things that are available right now, there's some things that could be available. Are you interested in any of these? If they're interested in North Hollywood, then by all means they'll say so, and let them decide which will be the focus of all of this attention, rather than us pre-deciding. The seller doesn't usually pre-decide, it's the buyer that decides. And
have a feeling that that's what will happen, though.
Yeah, okay. Well, you know, but that's all I'm trying to make sure is that we don't lose an opportunity. And as I said, I don't know who's ready. I certainly am not arguing for my district because our district has no space for a studio of any size. I mean, it's already jammed up with it. No, we're having trouble with pocket parks, I mean, for God's sake. So this is not
All right, we have Mr.
sectarian.
Fuhr's, we have Mr. Fuhr's amendment. All right, prepare the roll and 41 as amended. Tabulate the vote.
11 eyes.
That is approved. Forthwith on that. Next item.
Next item is item 45, which is closed session. So before you currently is public comment period.
Continue the public comment. Richard Robinson. And then Leonard Shapiro.
Mr. President, members of council, the best choice you can make for the best person you can choose to fill the position of the director of your Department of Neighborhoods is also the person who has been closest to the process. If you will, allow me to repeat myself. It is City Council person Joel Wax who began the Neighborhood Council Initiative when he ran for the awesome office of mayor 6 years ago. And at the risk of denigrating the process further, let me just say that the City Council person's chief deputy, who is closest to the process, as it were, of initiating the new neighborhood council charter amendment.
Okay.
Sir,
are you recommending Joel Wax for this
I was
position?
saying Greg Nelson.
No, I
No,
think he's recommending Joel Wax, and I second the motion. She's the head of the
Joe
neighborhood
Wax is
council.
chief deputy. Let me add this caveat. Joe Wax is chief deputy. Greg Nelson.
Oh, that.
Thank you.
That's going to help him, Richard. Leonard Shapiro.
Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Mr. President and council members, last week, you had a very interesting discussion for about an hour and a half on what are you going to do about the bus shelters. And if you noticed this week, the LA Times didn't have a line on it, Daily News didn't have a line, City News Service didn't have anything. The only person or paper who carried anything is my paper that'll be out Thursday. But I'd just like to understand what your thoughts of the city council were. You're continuing this, and evidently right now you're studying what to do. I'd just like to review briefly some of the facts that this meeting is concerned with. In 1978, you initiated a pilot program on what are you going to do about the bus shelters. In 1981, you issued a request for proposals, and you got responses. Only one organization was deemed necessary. That was a well-connected political outfit with a former Zev Yaroslavsky chief deputy, Nick Patsouris, Willie Davey, Green Bay Packers, Dennis Devine, his father was Andy Devine, the actor, and Peter Sidlow, a developer. With all these people together, they came in and they were supposed to build 1,250 shelters within a reasonable period, 1 year or so, and then another 1,250. That was 2,500 shelters. That was the start. It was supposed to be evenly divided all over the city. Then you said, your plan said also, in 1990, 10 years later, you would have 4,500 shelters built. And in the year 2000, that's next year, you would have 6,500 shelters built. Well, the facts show you have 994 shelters built, and they're not being maintained properly. And also, while this was all going on, the organization that got the contract, CSG, later taken over by Shelter Media, who later sold out to Gwinnett Transit, who later sold out to Outdoor Systems, who are now in the process of selling to CBS. CBS is supposed to be paying $75 million for the use of this contract. But that's what's happening. Nobody knows what is going on. We know we do not have the bus shelters. We're supposed to have 6,500 next year, and the chances of us having 1,000 are very unlikely. You are talking about giving a contract to the people who fell flat on their face and only got an extension from you because they pleaded bankruptcy and going belly up. Mr. Ferraro was noted in the paper 10 years ago as saying this is not a very good outfit and that changes ought to be made on this. I agree with him then, and I agree with him now if he still stands that way. I think that the city ought to stand up and say, listen, enough is enough. You guys been beating the bushes and not doing what you're supposed to do.
I want you to repeat that you agreed with me.
I agree
the
with
first
you.
time, I think that's the first time.
Well, just a second, Councilman John Ferraro, although voting for the contract, expressed reservations about McGraw being a member of the firm. Yes, you had reservations, but you still went along with it. But the point is, then was then, and now is now. We should have 6,500 bus shelters placed up there, and I know Mr. Ferraro will agree with me when we say we got to take measures to be sure. We got 6,500 now, and we have 9,000 shelters for all bus stops in a couple of years.
Thank you, Mr. Shapiro. I gave you a little extra time because you agreed with me, but okay, the public comment period is closed. Mr. Fuhrer, would you please come back to the council chamber? We do not have a quorum, and we have an executive session item that must be taken care of today. Okay. Okay. All right. Would everyone please leave the council chamber that's not involved with the executive session? Yeah, well, get going, Shapiro.
Linda, why don't you go upstairs and get the thing ready? Jack will stay and read upstairs.
I usually call him a little one, and he calls me a big one. Okay, we're back in open session. We have a resolution before us. Prepare the roll on the resolution. Tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
That is approved. Forthwith on that. Next item.
Now it's time for requests to be excused. Council agendas. Councilmember Goldberg requests to be excused on July 28th to leave at 11:30 for city business.
Unanimous vote.
Councilmember Goldberg requests to be excused on August 13th for personal business. This meets city policy.
Unanimous vote.
Councilmember Burnson requests to be excused on Wednesday, the 21st, to leave at noon for city business. This requires a motion.
All right, Ms. Misakowski moves regretfully. Unanimous vote.
Okay. The desk is clear.
We do have some adjourning motions, so would everyone please stand? Members of the council, I think we all join in adjourning the memory of John F. Kennedy Jr., his wife, and his sister-in-law that perished in that airplane. All members. Mr. Wax?
Yeah. This is on behalf of Mr. Holden. He's not here. And Ms. Walters and I would like the council to adjourn in the memory of Louise Mize, who lived in the 10th District for many, many years, was active as the past president of the District Women's Steering Committee, treasurer of the Mid-City Chamber, member of the National Council of Negro Women, and member of the Black Women's Forum. Mr. Holden advises that she passed yesterday and had left her sister, 2 sons, 2 daughters, and 3 grandchildren, and will give the clerk the pertinent information.
Mrs. Walters?
I would just like to say a word about Louise Mize. She was one of the founding members under Councilperson Cunningham of the 10th District Women's Steering Committee, and she was extremely active throughout the district for many, many years. She was always ready to assist not only in her neighborhood, but in others as well, and she will surely be missed.
Yeah, and I'd also ask that we adjourn in memory of Tody Smith, who unexpectedly passed away. He was a member of the, played professional football, played at USC, died at age 50 unexpectedly, and I'd ask we adjourn in his memory. Call the roll. Aye, the council is adjourned.